Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be breaking down the very basics of programming in blocks in FTC. Right now I'm programming on the FTCSIM, which is an online tool that allows you to simulate a robot in your browser. Here in front of me I have the default blocks that generate at the start of any block op mode if you don't use a preset. I'll be going through the structure of this program and how to have either an autonomous or a teleop program. So first, the first step to any program is when it is first initialized. So when the init button is pressed on the driver station. This starts the program. It goes run op mode, and you can see here there's a block that says put initialization blocks here. These are where the blocks go that run right at the start when the program is first initialized. Now this includes things like assigning motor directions or default variables, or calibrating delicate sensors such as video cameras or internal motion units. Now, next you have simulator wait for start. This is like a stop sign that waits until the play button has been pressed after the initialization button has been pressed, and once the play button has been pressed, it continues the program to where the run blocks are. Now these run blocks, they only happen once at the start of the program, and this is generally where you would control the program in the autonomous mode, because in the autonomous mode you generally structure your program as a series of instructions to follow, not as a loop. So you would probably remove this while loop, and then you would add in blocks here, such as assigning motor speeds, and then waiting, or starting up a new camera feed and waiting until you detect something, or any other type of control method. Now that's for autonomous. For teleop, you are constantly getting sensor input in the form of the gamepad input from the drivers, which are going to want to constantly be updating the robot to reflect as they give the robot new commands through the controllers. Now, I've already explained how to get the values from the controllers, but that was generally in on.java. So to get the values from the controllers, all you need to do is go to gamepad and use one of these values. Now in the simulator, I don't have a gamepad. It only has a keyboard, which only have button values instead of analog values, unfortunately. So I won't be able to precisely simulate, but I will do my best. So for a teleop mode, you want the robot to be constantly updating itself. So this is why you use a while loop with a op mode is active. This block is constantly checking to see if the program is still supposed to be running. Now inside the while loop, you would simply put the blocks you want to constantly be getting updated, such as the power of the drive motors, in order to have the robot respond to instructions from the gamepad. You would also put other values that you want to constantly calculate in here, such as the values from a camera, or the input from a sensor, or any other form of like dynamic robot control element. This has been a brief breakdown of the blocks side of this program. Now let's move to on.java and see how the program is structured. Now, in on.java, there's a lot more text because the initialization isn't hidden. You can see here, this is where all of the initial variables are made, and this is where they are all assigned through hardware map. But this isn't important right now. You want to first see, this is public class, my first Java op mode extends the linear op mode. This is the class, which is the entire container of code that you're writing. This does not contain import statements, which are before this, but are not shown in the editor. But after this, you have all of like the global variables, which are going to be then used in the program. Here we have public void run opmode, which, if you remember, this was mirrored in the previous blocks version of the code. This is the main loop that you saw. In it, we have initialization. Now, all of this initialization code is similarly hidden in blocks, but it's present here, about Java. So you can see we are assigning the different sensors and motors their values. You can see that's where the initialization blocks go. And then after all that is done, there's another wait for start line here. And after that, it has the same run blocks, and then the same while loop. If the opmode is active, continually update. I hope that you've found this video helpful. This has been the basic program structure in FTC, and I'll see you in the next one.